You know what? I was still skeptical of it. Like, did they actually send me? Hello and welcome everyone. So NVIDIA announced their Jetson Orin Nano developer kit. I know it's a mouthful, but it's an amazing edge computing device that we have. And if you would want to purchase it right now, you would click on this purchase now button, want to go to one of those official vendors and try to buy it. Right? See buying options. There are a few vendors over here. So Amazon, let's go over there. Let's try to find something. Looks like it is sold out over here on Amazon. Okay, all right. Buying options, and there are probably some people selling it. Nope, see all buying options. Okay, so $580, right? That is not the normal price of it. So the normal price for this thing is $250. Let's go to Seed Studio. And $249, but it is back ordered and they do not have any estimate when this product will be back in stock. All right, let's go to SparkFun. $249 back ordered. You cannot buy this over here either. Let's go to Arrow and let's look at the prices over here. Oh, I don't even know how to buy over here. So you have to probably do a quote and then you have to click on buy and then they may or may not send it to you. I don't even know how this works. Maybe a legit site. I'm pretty sure it is a legit site if it is listed on NVIDIA's website, but I don't know how to order from there. Cannot order from there. So I went to my trusted site, AliExpress, and again, it is $567 over here also. But a few days back, I saw that this price, instead of it being $567, it was $264, which was quite close to $250. And I took a risk and I ordered it. And I've been clicking on tracking since then. And I don't know if this is visible on the screen over here, but I got a message a few days back that this thing got messed up somewhere while they were trying to deliver it. Or yeah, there it is. Processing problem at departure country, region sorting center. And I was quite upset when I saw that. And I've been looking at the delivery update since then. And it says your package arrived at local facility, but that's it. That's the last update that I saw yesterday, and that is it. However, today I saw something showing up on my doorstep, which is this Seed Studio box, and I'm so happy with it. So I paid close to the stock price, so $264 plus taxes, which came out to be $285, which is better than what they themselves, so Seed Studio themselves officially is now selling it for $500 plus. Like, what do you do if the official retailer is scalping it? What do you do about it, right? But anyway, they only scalped $15 more from me, and I was okay with that. So purchased it. I got it, but you know what? I'm still very skeptical of it. I don't even know if it is a real thing or not. So you know what? Let's go ahead. Let's open it up. Let's give it a try and see whether it is the real deal or not. So let's open our knife over here. So this thing would require something more strong. This package is really strong. So let's get a nice knife. And I noticed that the package had this something over here, like a dent kind of thing. So I hope everything is correct in there. And I hope this is the right thing that they have sent me. It is very nicely packaged though. Let's find out. So let's open this. All right, perfect knife for it. This is like nicely packaged item. Wow. Yeah, something I've noticed that whenever an item comes from China, from AliExpress, it is packaged well. All right, really packaged well. So let me make sure I open all angles and every edge of this device. Okay, I think I can put this thing down because this is quite a fancy box cutter that I have. Probably not really meant for cutting boxes, but don't ask me why I have it right under my desk, but I do anyway. Whoa, okay. Okay. So looks like it is the real deal. You know what? I was still skeptical of it, you know, like did they actually send me the real thing or not? Apparently they did. This is the real deal over here. Wow. Wow. Okay. So, whoa. That looks really awesome. I noticed something though. Looks like this has been opened already. This is not good. So I don't know if you guys can see it, but this seal over here, this seal is already broken. So somebody already opened it. Yeah, I could not have had it any less sketchy. So let's try to get the remainder of whatever the seal is over here off, and let's see if there is still the item in there. Okay, all right, so the box says NVIDIA Jetson Orin Nano developer kit. Box looks legit to me. Nothing is wrong over here, and well, this side of the seal is fine. This side of the seal is okay. I don't know why the other seal was opened already. That is very strange. All right, let's open this up. Okay, the box can go over here. Let's see if there's the developer board in there. Wow, okay, so that is in here. All right, so maybe somebody was curious and they just wanted to open the seal and check. Wow, okay, all right, so let's get the booklet out. Nothing fancy in here. Let's give it away. There's a card over here. Nice. There is a American plug that is definitely what we want. We'll get it out in a second. I think it is stuck behind the cardboard. And the actual developer kit. Holy crap. This thing is small. This thing is smaller than what I would have thought it was. This is really small. Wow. That is amazing. That just looks beautiful. That looks gorgeous. Okay, so I see that there is a 2230 slot over here and 2280 slot over here. So there are two NVMe slots that I can see very easily. And of course, there are some USB type A. We have the network LAN RJ45 over here, power, and we have the good old display port over there. I'm trying to get the card out without breaking the box. There's supposed to be an SD card stuck to the box somewhere is what I was told. Let's see where that SD card is. Maybe that is what they got out. Don't know. The SD card in here already pre-installed? I don't see any SD card in here. Interesting. I don't even know if this is legit. Oh no, there's a slot for SD card. I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's a slot for SD card right there. But there is definitely no SD card that I can see, and I've been told that it is stuck to the box somewhere, which I cannot find. All right, let me do one thing. Let me try to not break the box. Whoa. All right, so the power card is out. That's a good news. And I do not see the SD card. So let's see if on the box it even says that, or over here. Let's see what are the contents of the box. So we have So it comes with the Orin Nano 8GB module, which is good, and micro SD card slot. Required to start the system and not included micro SD card. So it very clearly says that over here, that the micro SD card, I don't know if you guys can see it, but the micro SD card is not included over here. All right, okay. Well, if it is not included, I don't blame them for not including it. So that's all right. What we have to do now is to make sure that this is actually working, and this is a legit item over here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to let me think. So I have a couple different options over here for me. So I have a 2230 NVMe 2 terabyte over here, which I'm definitely gonna use with this. Plus, I also have over here with me a bunch of SD cards, some good high quality SD cards. So I got some 512. Let me see. I want an A3. Okay. So I have Samsung Evo U3A1 and SanDisk Ultra A1 U1. So I'm going to use this U3 over here. If I have A2, that would be nice. So let me see if I have a better card over here. Okay, I do. It's a 128 gigs Samsung Evo A2. I'm gonna use this card because this would be faster. Even though I have 512, I'm not gonna be using these cards anyway. I'm gonna be installing everything on our trusty SSD eventually. So this would just be a temporary card to boot up Nano and to go from there. So let me do one thing. I'm gonna pull up the Orin's website and let's power everything up and let's get this bad boy going for us over here. Before we go any further, I wanted to do a quick boot of this device, and let me show you what this video will look like. So we have done unboxing over here. We'll do a quick spec review with 3090, and then we'll power this thing on quick. So in terms of spec review, and I know this is unfair, this is completely unfair to our little monster over here, but we will be comparing it to 3090, and we'll be comparing to 3090 especially because I happen to own 7 of these 3090s and I absolutely love them, but it's a unfairly fair comparison in my mind, but I still want to do that. So both devices are built on NVIDIA's Ampere architecture, and Jetson Orin Nano over here, it is designed for edge AI use cases, right? And we have to always keep that in mind, that it has smaller form factor, which comes with some compromises, but still it is the same Ampere architecture, and we have 1024 CUDA cores in Jetson Nano, and in here 3090 just dominates in the raw computational power. It has staggering 10,000 CUDA cores, 10,496 CUDA cores over here, and definitely, I mean, if you want high-end gaming, large-scale AI workloads, that needs raw computational power, of course you would go for 3090. But the use case for our Jetson is completely different for edge devices. Now, in terms of tensor cores, this has Jetson Orin Nano has 32 tensor cores, and they are optimized for int 8 precision, and it delivers up to 67 TOPS, right, trillions operations per second, for edge AI applications, which is what something we'll have to remember. And if you compare this to RTX 3090, again, that has 328 tensor cores, again 10 times difference over here, and that can handle FP16 and mixed precision tasks quite well. So again, 3090 beats our Jetson Nano. Different use cases, different devices meant for different purposes, but just wanted to give you that idea over there too. In terms of memory, Jetson Orin Nano has 8 gigabytes of 128-bit LPDDR5, whereas our 3090 again beats this with 24 gigabytes of GDDR6 memory. And the memory bandwidth for Jetson Nano is 102 gigabytes per second, which is huge in the device of its class. But then again, for 3090, we have 384 bit of GDDR6 memory, which is huge, and we have impressive 936 gigabytes per second, right? So comparing to 100 gigabytes per second, we have 936 gigabytes per second. Comparing to 128-bit of memory bandwidth, we have 384-bit of memory bandwidth in 3090. Again, different cards, different use cases, but just wanted to give you that idea too. Do not have unrealistic expectations for this device. It will still outperform in edge AI cases any other device possible over here. And I definitely have more use cases for this device, but do not compare this in terms of performance with an actual RTX card. Now, for AI performance, right, we have 67 int 8 TOPS, and 3090 can do well, comparing directly with TOPS with 3090 won't be right, but in terms of performance, it can do FP32, FP16 operations, and that is unparalleled for any kind of training and deployment of complex AI networks. 3090 will just excel. And in terms of CPU, this is where Jetson Orin Nano has 6-core ARM Cortex A78AE CPU, right? So, and this is our ARM CPU, which is very energy efficient, and it is tailored for edge AI, embedded AI use cases, whereas RTX 3090, it relies on an external CPU for its operations. You cannot have it independently running. It's just not possible. So you need some kind of Intel or AMD processor to go with it. Some people think that it is good because it gives you flexibility of choosing your own processor, but at the same time, you do have to invest in that piece of the puzzle too. Power consumption. This is where Jetson Orin Nano shines because it has the configurable power ranging from 7 watts to 25 watts, whereas your 3090 has 350 watts TDP. In real life, the power consumption goes up to 450 watts, the ones that I have with me. So which is huge difference in power consumption. And then form factor, of course, 3090 is a huge graphics card. It's massive. It is aimed at desktop workstations and gaming rigs, whereas our cute little Jetson Nano is meant for edge devices, for robotics, for edge AI. Right, so AI on the edge is the real world application use case for Jetson Orin Nano, right? And that's where the power efficiency kicks in. That's where the compact design makes it ideal for its use case. So if you are working, in a limited power and limited space, like sending it on a drone, and you still want that AI use case, then definitely Jetson Nano is the way to go over here. If you are building a server that needs to be run all the time, then of course Jetson Nano will work. It will deliver performance and power, but depends how much of a speed you need, how much of power you are willing to spend. Jetson Nano will consume less amount of power, very ideal, very good for always on small server in your house, giving you some computational power, but at the same time it will lack that memory that you will get, the 24 gigs of VRAM that you get, and the raw computational power that you get from 3092. Okay, all right, so let's do one thing. Let's boot up our Jetson Nano and let's see how it looks like over here. So I'm gonna pull up my Elgato capture card over here, and let's see how it looks when we first boot up our Jetson Nano without any SD card in it. So here we go. So it's asking to press escape to enter setup, and it is saying that you have to press a key, and there is a shell over here, and that is it. And that's all that I want to do over here right now. I also want to show you the BIOS, but I know the Elgato capture card switches and messes up if I do not change some settings over here, because the BIOS resolution is different than the resolution of this particular screen. When I press escape over there, it does mess up. So let me quick show you the BIOS over here too, and then we will go straight into updating the firmware. So let me do that. So for BIOS, the only thing is I need to press escape, and at the same time I need to make sure that I deactivate and activate the capture card, because I know the BIOS resolution is smaller. So if you see a blank screen right now, that is intentional. And let me see, there we go. Okay, all right, and let's pull this over here. So you can see in the BIOS we have 3.0 BIOS over here, and I believe we have a higher version of BIOS available on the website, which is what we will take a look at too. And we'll upgrade this BIOS, and we'll use this SD card, 128 gigs of SD card that I have with me. This is the one right there, and this is U3A2 V30 Samsung Evo Select SD card that I have with me over here. And once I'm done with that, I'll eventually install everything on this M.2 SSD, but I just want to do some initial tests with the SD card and see how it looks from there. All right, so let's go to the NVIDIA's website and update the firmware. All right, so we are done with the powering it on without the SD card, and let's do the firmware update next over here. So let's go back to our original NVIDIA's website where we had that purchase now button. You can click on that download SDK, which takes you to this particular download SDK, JetPack SDK, and over here there is a getting started guide right here. And if you click on this getting started, you come to this Jetson Orin Nano Developer Kit Getting Started Guide. And apart from other things that you see that we have already taken a look at on our video earlier, we see there is update firmware if needed section or not. Right? And this is where we'll take a look at our Jetson's firmware update process. So it says follow instructions over here to perform the Jetson Nano's firmware update, and this is what is tricky. So the way we have to do the firmware update is by determining which firmware version we are on. If we are on less than 36 version, right, and let me show you over here, they actually have a nice graph. So over here, they have said that follow these instructions, which are instructions over here. And what they're talking about is that if you have less than 36, let me scroll down over here. So if your Jetson UEFI firmware is less than 36, then you have to flash the JetPack 513 image on the micro SD card, right? So let's see what our firmware version is. So the way to see the firmware version is by hitting escape on your Jetson Nano. And once you hit escape, you can see this particular screen over here. And the third line from the top you see is 3.0. And that is what it says. If you scroll down over here, that is what it says, that the third line from the top, which is below not specified. Let me show you on the screen over here. So this is the line I'm talking about. Check the third line from the top below not specified, which should be the version number of Jetson UEFI firmware, right? So let's go back to our capture card. The third line from the top is 3.0 for us. So we are definitely less than version 36, right? So we need to definitely less than version 36. So we need the JetPack 513 image on the micro SD card. So let's do that. Let's go to JetPack 513 page over here, or actually they have provided this right here. So we're gonna click on this, and this apparently should download the image for us over here. All right, so the image is getting downloaded, 8 gigabytes. Wow, that's a decent amount of size. Good that we have full 1 gigabyte, but I'm not seeing 1 gigabyte of speeds, but still it's decent speed for us. It will get downloaded in a few minutes. While it is getting downloaded, I don't think I have Balena Etcher, which is the software that they require us to use. So I'm gonna go and download Etcher also. So I'm gonna download that. And if there is a non-installer version, just an executable, I would like to use that. Looks like they don't have that anymore. Okay, I'm just gonna get this installer version, and then you just use that. So just a couple more seconds, and I'm gonna install this Etcher. So I'll pause this video for next couple minutes while this Etcher is getting downloaded and JetPack 513 is getting downloaded. Okay, actually what else we can do is, and I'm not going to initiate this download along with this, but what else we can do is we can also download the new JetPack 6.1 because we'll need that eventually. So the idea over here is we use the JetPack 513 to upgrade the firmware. And after the firmware is upgraded, then we will need the JetPack 6, right? So we need that anyway. So why not download and keep it ready with you, which is what I'll do over here. So let me go ahead and find the download section for JetPack 6. I think that was in the very first over here. Okay. NVIDIA JetPack SDK documentation. Trying to find where JetPack 6 is. Let me go to the get started guide and write image to SD card, and let's see JetPack SDK page. Let's open it in a new window, and 6.1. We were right there. Okay. It's taking us back and forth within the... All right, instruction. Download it from this page. What am I missing? What am I missing? So it says should be able to download it over here. Is there a download option over here? What am I missing? Download. Just no direct download button over here. Okay. So probably this button. Part of, okay, so that is not it. Okay, 6.1. Okay, this should not be this hard. It should be easier than that. Oh, probably that's why. It is right here, Jetson Orin Developer Kit. Okay, so download for Jetson Orin Nano Super Developer Kit. Let's open that. And that is also going to get downloaded in the background, which is good. So while this is done, and while we are preparing our SD card, we can download our other Jetson image. Okay, so now what I'm going to do over here is, let me see if I can share this etcher screen with you. Just a second. Let me pull up my etcher window over here, and let's see. So we'll choose the option of flash from file, and I don't think you can see the screen over here, but I'm choosing the zip file for JP15 JetPack 51513 over here, which I have chosen. And inside that JetPack, the image name is actually sdblob.image. So you do not have to unzip it. You just have to choose that zip file directly that you downloaded, and it will automatically choose the image from inside. Now, let me switch my camera and I can show you something. So this is the SD card that I have, and I don't know what was in here, probably an old Raspberry Pi image, but I'm gonna put this SD card in this USB over here, the SD card reader. It's a USB 3.0, so make sure you have the 3.0 and not a USB 2, because otherwise it will be a very painful process for you to do this all night. So let's put this into our card reader over here. So right direction. There we go. And it's asking to format disk and all that. I'm gonna ignore that because Etcher is going to do all that for me. Select target disk, 128 gigs of SD card over here. And let me come back and show you. So all I have done is I went to this select target and chose this particular SD card over here. And I'm gonna select this. It says it's a large device, but we want to flash over here. Click on flash. It says it's an unusually large device. Yes, I'm sure it is a big device, and it is starting the flashing process now. And this is why I actually wanted a good SD card, a fast enough SD card, so that this flashing process would not take years to flash, right? So it is flashing with, it should flash with about 100. The card supports up to 100 megabytes per second, but for whatever reason it's taking its time to flash. But anyway, it will take about maybe 5 to 10 minutes, approximately that time, looking at it. And right after that we can go to the next steps over here. All right, so we are done flashing it, and it's trying to validate. It's only gonna take 3 minutes to validate with full speed. So you know what, I'm gonna let it do it. Even though normally I don't, I'll let it do it this time around. I'll let it take its 3 minutes to flash, validate the flashing process that it has just done. All right, so the flashing process is complete. And wow, so there are like a ton of windows that have opened up over here. So let me close all these windows. Do not format the disk keys. I need this disk over here. So let me close all these windows. Very interesting. Looks like there are a ton of partitions that got created, and Windows is trying to mount all these partitions, and it is messing up while mounting these partitions. So just gonna close all these windows that popped up. Okay, and this is the last window, and I know probably you guys cannot see it, but it is a painful thing to click all these windows over here. All right, got it done. Okay, perfect. So now what we have to do is to take the SD card out, plug it into Jetson, and see how that goes over here. So let's do that now. So I'm gonna eject the SD card over here, take it out from here, and actually I'll have to turn off the Jetson too. So let me do that. Unplug the power cable, and Jetson goes, the SD card goes from this other side over here, and the card will go facing up, so the shiny pins on the card will face upwards. That's the way it should go in, at least that's how I think it should go. Yep, so card is flush in, and I'll also plug in the network cable while I'm at it. So network cable is in, and I can plug in the power supply now. Perfect. And let's turn on our capture card. Okay, so this is up, which is a good sign. And the lights on Nano are blinking, and I can see the light on the network blinking, so that's good. That's a good news. And we'll let it run. Let's see how long the first run process is over here. So if I go back to NVIDIA's website over here, it says that check whether the firmware version is greater than this. It wasn't. So we have flashed the JetPack 513 image on micro SD card and reboot. Okay, so I think what they mean is that flash the image, plug it in, reboot. Firmware update during reboot. And run QSPI updater. Let's see what's going on the capture card over here. So I do not see anything being shown on the capture card anymore. It is interesting. So my understanding is that it has potentially done the firmware update. Firmware update during reboot. So is that what it means? This is a little confusing the way it is written. Let's read. So let's read over here and see. So it says should be the version number. We check the version number, and then if your Jetson Nano needs its firmware update in order to make Jetson Pack 66 SD card work, perform the steps 2 to 5. Boot with the JetPack 513 SD card to schedule firmware update. First, we need to run JetPack 513 in order to let its NVIDIA 14T bootloader package get its bootloader firmware updater activated. Okay, so that the firmware update automatically runs the next time it reboots. Okay, download the SD card image to your PC, which we have done, and we flashed it, and we inserted it, we powered it on. Yep, that's what we did. Complete the initial software setup. OEM config. Interesting. So ensure the firmware update is scheduled. So I did not see this initial software setup. So let me go back to the capture card and see if probably maybe it's the capture card that is not getting the output over here. So let me try unplugging and replugging the HDMI cable over here. So the interesting part is that I just disconnected my capture card, and I connected the Jetson directly to the monitor, and I can see everything over here. So this is definitely something weird going on with my capture card over here. So I just want to capture everything, so I don't want to miss it, which is why I would just retry this capture card settings over here and come back. So unfortunately, whatever I do, for whatever reason, my capture card is just not working with this resolution or something. It's just a standard 1080p resolution. It is very strange. I don't know what magic NVIDIA is doing over here, but it's nothing wrong with the capture card. It just doesn't want to do capture at this point of time. So what I've done is I'm outputting the video over here. I know you cannot see it, but you can see that purple screen, which is what this is, and it's just asking me to accept the terms and conditions on that NVIDIA page. So I'm gonna accept the terms of these licenses. It just looks like a default Ubuntu screen over here. It's gonna do continue, and it's asking me the language selection, which is English, and that is the keyboard as English, which is fine. Let's continue over here, Chicago, and let's continue with the time zone. And it's asking for my name, which I'll provide over here. And let's name this system as Orin. And because I have only one, I'm just going to leave it as Orin, and my username and password. It looks like a standard Ubuntu installation. All right, and then I'm gonna do login automatically, and I'll do continue over here. It's asking, please enter the desired size of app partition in megabytes. Default value in the input field is maximum size that can be accepted. Enter 0 or leave blank to use the maximum size value. Note that this is not supposed to reduce the app's partition size. The current size is 16573. Maximum accepted is 120746, which is what is selected over here. So I'm going to leave it as the way it is, 120746. I think that's the max size of this SD card. So let's do that. Let's leave it as 120746. And it's asking, do I want to install a browser, Chromium browser? And I'm choosing yes over there. And I'm just doing next and continue, and it should continue from here. So it's saying installing Chromium browser, please wait, installing from Snap, installing the Snap version of it, which is good. And once that is done, it will probably take me to the next page over here. So while it is installing, let's switch the screen to our Edge over here. So what's going on? So now we are completing the initial software setup, which is the OEM config, and ensure that the firmware update is scheduled over here. So it is still working on the Chromium download step over here. Maybe I didn't need to install Chromium because I'm gonna wipe this JetPack 513 anyway. So probably shouldn't have installed it, but it's fine. It is what it is. So it says ensure the firmware update is scheduled. So that is something that I'll have to make sure next. Once the Jetson boots into the Jetson Linux system, a background service automatically runs to schedule a firmware update, if needed, to be performed during the next boot up process. Once you see the following, or just wait about 5 minutes after powering on to ensure the scheduling is done. Reboot. Okay. So we need to wait for this particular message to show up. So right now it is installing Chromium. I should not have done it. I don't know why I did it. I regret it now. But once this thing gets done, this Chromium step gets done, probably we'll be in a good shape over here. Wow, I didn't know Chromium would be this long. All right, just waiting for this to get done. Chromium installation is finished. Okay, so let's click on close over here. And it says installing system now. Okay, and given that this is a SD card, it is actually working pretty fast, but then it's also one of the faster SD cards out there. So it should work faster over here too. So what I see right now is it says system configuration and configuring hardware, and it is having just a progress bar over here. I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's a progress bar and that has ended all the way, and now there is a regular purple screen. It says applying changes now. Ubiquiti front-end GTK, some crypt setup, some database files and directories that are currently being installed, it says, and it's just running through its standard Ubuntu installation process. I believe this is Ubuntu 22.04 if I'm not wrong. I don't think they have it for 24.04 yet. Okay, all right. So the system has rebooted now, and this is where, after the system comes back up, is where I think we will see this bootloader post install notification kind of thing. So yep, it is booting up. All right, so we have booted into the system now. Let me just skip all these initial steps that we have. And it says that it is on 15 watts of power. I'm going to change the power mode to 25, which I cannot do right now. Okay, so I cannot change the power modes right now. So let's just see. It actually looks very pretty. The wallpaper and everything that they have over here is quite nice. Let me see in the display settings if the resolution is something weird, which is why I wasn't able to output it. But resolution is fine too. They're very strange that the display card, the capture card, isn't working with this resolution. This is very strange. So I'm gonna wait for a few seconds over here. Yep, I got that notification now. So it says NVIDIA. I'm gonna pull this down because I can see that you guys can see the bottom of the screen. So so this is the notification that they're talking about, which looks exactly the same as this notification over here, right? So this notification I can see showing up over here now. So it says reboot is required to complete the installation. So let's just go back and read this message over here. Once you see the following, just wait for about 5 minutes, or just wait for about 5 minutes. So I've already seen this. I believe we are okay to reboot. So let me go ahead and reboot the system now. All right, so power off on the top right and power off, and let's just restart the system. And it says reboot and observe the firmware update to 5.0. Okay, so it is saying, if I go back to the Edge window, it's saying reboot and then reboot to Jetson Orin Nano Developer Kit. Yes, we did that. observe the firmware update. You should see the following. Yep, I do see the following. Okay, so let me show this screen to you guys if you can. So there is the same screen that they were talking about, says update in progress and 7% upgrade going on right now. So let it do what it is doing and we'll look at this window meanwhile. So this is exactly what it's doing, and ironically it is at 9% on my screen too right now, so that is good. The update process looks like it'll take some time. So what it's saying is that once done, you will boot into JetPack 5.13 again with underlying firmware update to 5.0. Okay, so it's gonna update to 5.0 and run QSPI updater package to schedule QSPI update. Now that your UEFI is updated to 3550 JetPack 5.13, it is capable of updating the entire QSPI content to make it ready for JetPack 6. Okay, all right. So this is a process. This is not like a straight up next done like a Raspberry Pi or something, you know. You gotta flash, you gotta update multiple things, and you have to, you know, proceed over here. This is definitely pain in the butt. Doesn't help that my my capture card also blew up. Oh well, I don't know, that wasn't really a capture card issue, so I would still put it on Jetson over here because I don't know, it's the Jetson that's not working. I tried outputting my 1080p different devices. So I have this is what I did meanwhile while I had turned off the system. I have this Kadas Vim 4. It has HDMI and it can output at different resolutions too, which I did, and it was able to output that perfectly fine. But just for whatever reason, it just doesn't want to work with Jetson. It just doesn't like it for whatever reason. All right, so it actually rebooted and I saw firmware updated to version 5.0. It flashed over here and I did see the firmware updated to version 5.0, which is good. Let's have it boot back up completely into Ubuntu and let's see from there what happens. Okay, so we are in Ubuntu now. All right, let's go back to our window and see what it is talking about. So once done, you will boot back into 5.13, which we are right now, with underlying firmware updated to 5.0, which we are right now. Okay, now it says to run QSPI updater package to schedule QSPI update. Okay, so firmware is updated. It is capable of updating the entire QSPI. We will run a special tool so that the entire QSPI update is scheduled to run automatically on next boot. Double check your firmware version is up to date. 3550 JetPack 5.13. Once it reboots back into Jetson Linux system on Jetson terminal, run following. All right, let's just run this command. So on this small tiny keyboard, it is fun to type always. Let's open the terminal over here and I'm just typing this command in the terminal. Sudo nv boot ctrl. Let's see if tab works. Yep, it works. Dump tab does not work after that. Okay, so dump hyphen, where's the hyphen key on this keyboard? There it is. Slots info. All right, and there is an update message showing up over here to update Ubuntu. I'm not gonna update Ubuntu right now. So let's proceed with our regular process over here. And I'm gonna hit enter my password. And it says current version 3550, capsule update status 1. It doesn't say 0, so they are expecting it to say 0, but ours says 1. Current bootloader slot B, and ours says A. Active bootloader is B, and ours says A. Number of slots are 2. Same for us. 0 and 1 says normal for mine too. Okay, all right. Install QSPI updater Debian package to trigger the entire update. So let's do this. Sudo apt. You know what? I'll run a sudo apt update first. And actually, I'll click remind me later on that later. Sudo apt up update to update all the repos and packages over here, so that when I do actually get the install, I have this with me over here. Okay, sudo apt-get apt-get install. It is fun typing on this small keyboard. NVIDIA L4T. L4T Jetson Orin Nano. Okay, so tab helped me out over here. Jetson Orin Nano QSPI updater. All right, let's hit enter, and it is installing it now. All right, let's do this, and let's wait for a little bit. It says firmware on QSPI will be updated on next boot. Reboot the target system for updates to take effect. Okay, so we did get a success message over here, similar to what they are expecting us to see. So it's asking to reboot and observe the QSPI update and power off. Okay. So they're asking to reboot. So I'm gonna reboot. So just switching the screens over here. I'm gonna do a reboot over here. Restart again. And observe the update, and you can observe QSPI update during the boot up process and then power off. Okay, so let's wait for this to get done. Interesting, very interesting process over here. This is quite interesting. So hopefully, you know, someone else finds it useful. I understand you cannot see the screen over here. I apologize for that. Nothing I can do. I came prepared with everything. It is just denying to work for me over here. So nothing I can do over here to help with the process. But what I'm seeing on my screen right now is this Jetson update progress. So the screen looks very similar to this screen, but instead on the top where the version says, let me show my screen over here. So it looks very similar to this screen, but on the top where you see the version 4.1 written over here, on my screen I see the version 5.0 written over there. And it is update in progress, so exactly similar screen, and it is just on 38%, 39% right now. So just letting it finish. So we are at this this step right now, and we are observing the update during the boot up process. And once it is finished, it reboots and tries to boot. However, it will get stuck unless you change the SD card to JetPack 6.x. So maybe it is a good time to kind of just flash a new SD card with 6.x anyway, you know, because it'll take maybe 10 minutes to do. But I'll just reuse that SD card. That's fine. We can do it sequentially instead of doing it parallelly. All right, it almost appeared as if it turned off. That was very strange. It just kind of just rebooted out of nowhere. And oh yeah, now I do see Jetson firmware version 36.3. Okay, so it is trying to boot now, and now I think it will fail. It should fail now. According to the instructions over here, it should fail now because the 36.3 is not compatible with the JetPack 5 apparently, so it should now get stuck and it should fail. And let's wait for it to fail. Yeah, so nothing is happening. I mean, probably this is what stuck means. Stuck means that your monitor is off, right? I mean, it is getting no input from Jetson. So probably that's what stuck means. So let's do one thing before we go ahead and take the SD card out. I'm gonna unplug and replug the power and just simulate the stuck process again, because I want it to be actually stuck. Okay, so it is attempting to boot again. And let's see if I see any kind of NVIDIA screen show up. Something, anything? Okay. System firmware version, it is attempting to start. Okay, all right, so it is stuck. It is stuck. Yep, okay, all right. So we validated that it is stuck, which is good. Now that it is stuck, we can unplug the power, get the SD card out, and write the new image into our SD card over here. All right, let's do that. So I've unplugged the power, and let's get the SD card out of here. Let's plug the SD card back into our SD card reader. Let's plug the SD card reader back in over here. All right, SD card reader is in, and of course 100 windows for all these. I don't know how many partitions they have created over here. All right, so all those windows have gone now, and let's open Etcher again. Okay, All right, so let's flash another. Let's cancel this. Let's flash from a file, and I'm choosing the new Jetpack now. Okay, so I chose the new Jetpack, and this is 24 gigs. The previous one was, I think, 19. This is bigger than that. All right, let's select the target. So this is what I was talking about. You see how many partitions it has created, and none of these are readable by our Windows, so it was complaining about it. Okay, so let's select that and let's flash it, and I'm sure it's a large drive, and it is continue with it. It's gonna continue with its flashing process over here, right? So while it is flashing, let's leave this on over here. Let's have it flash. And I think it will still take about 5 minutes. At the least, it will take about 5 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna pause this video and we'll wait for these 5 minutes to get done. All right, so the flash is completed now, which is good. Now that this is done, let us get the SD card out from here and let's insert it into our Jetson. So again, the shiny side up will go, so making sure my Jetson is unplugged and inserting the SD card back in over here. Perfect. So SD card is in. Now I'm gonna plug Jetson back in over here. Power. Jetson has power now, and let's wait for it to come back up over here. All right, so it is booting up. Just give it a couple more seconds to have it boot up. All right, looks like it is booting. Yay, okay. All right, so it did not get stuck this time around. It did boot, which is good. And this is nice. This is nice. This is booting. So at least we found out that we are on the right 6.x over here. All right. So it is still booting, and yeah, looks pretty neat. It wants me to accept the terms of conditions and licenses and all that all over again, which I had done already, but of course it is unaware of it because it is a fresh new installation this time around. Okay, so setting it up all over again. Chicago, choosing the name, choosing computer's name as Jetson this time. I remember Jetson more. All right. Picking up passwords, logging automatically, and continue. Size as full maximum size. And let's not install the Chromium browser this time around. Okay, so it is installing the OS now, which is good. And let's just wait for it to get done. Honestly, I thought it'll be, like a easy 1 hour thing maybe at the max. I did not expect it to be like a multi-hour project over here, but still, at least it looks like it is coming to a closure now. While this is installing and booting up, let me show you my screen over here. So let me get rid of this etcher now. And what I see over here is next step. So boot with the JetPack 6.x SD card. So which is what we did just now. And power on, we plugged in the card, power on, complete the initial software setup, and then unlock super performance. So we gotta do this now. So if your Jetson Orin developer kit was previously running JetPack 6 or 6.1, which it wasn't, execute the following command after final login and reboot your device. This ensures that the MAXN performance mode becomes available. Let me see if that mode is available over here for me or not. So power mode. I don't see that mode either. So there is the 15 watt setting over here, and there's supposed to be this MAXN power mode. So I get another NVIDIA L40 bootloader post install notification over here, which is very similar to what we had earlier. So I'll apparently let it done. A reboot is required over here, it says. So I'm gonna let it get done over here. So let me do a restart over here. Okay, so I got presented with this screen over here. This screen again over here. So maybe there was a new update which got kicked in after JetPack 6.1. So most likely this is what is happening right now. I don't see this MAXN yet. So maybe after this bootloader update, it'll automatically show me the MAXN. So it is again doing another bootloader update. Like I said, let me show you guys over here if you can see it. So another bootloader update is in progress, because why not? Let's just do in several different steps instead of doing it in one step, right? Okay, so I'm gonna pause this video over here. And I don't know if you can see the disappointment in my face with the process, not with the device, with the process. But it is what it is. I'm just gonna have to wait over here to have it get done at this point of time. All right. So this particular update was a new firmware. So I was on firmware 36.03 earlier, and it is now 36.4. So it definitely do a firmware update. But that being said, I do not see the MAXN mode over here for me. So when I go to the power modes, I only see 15 watts and 7 watts. I do not see that MAXN mode that they're talking about. So most likely I'll have to run this command that they have over here. So what's this command? Let's take a look. If your Jetson Orin developer kit was previously running JetPack 6 or 6.1, but it wasn't though, that's the only thing. Execute the following command after final login and reboot your device. So let me take a look at, let me cat on that file. So cat slash edc nvp model.com. Let's see what's in there. So I see different power modes in here. I just don't want to remove this file for no reason, but maybe it gets auto created, so maybe that is what it is. Let's just remove it and see what happens, because why not? Okay, so let's remove it. All right, so the command is -rf edc npv model.com. All right. It's done. Of course, there is a typo. No command would be good without a typo. It is done. Let's reboot it now and let's see. Let's see if we see the MAXN power profile, because we definitely want that 25 watts of power. We do not want to get stuck with 15 watts over here. Let's wait for Jetson to reboot, and hopefully even after deleting that file it reboots now. Okay, so press enter to continue to boot. So it is booting now, and no errors, so that's a good news. So it is booting, and so somehow it kind of rebooted, so maybe it created that particular power profile or whatever. All right, so let's go back on the top and see now. Power mode. Oh yeah, okay, all right, so I see it now. Okay, so you do have to, so I wasn't running on 6.0 or 6.1 before, and yet I had to delete this particular file. So you need to remove this file for it to work, and do not worry about it. It somehow recreates this file and you get your MAXN performance over here. All right, and I don't know what I touched over here. It's definitely not my knife, because I was being very careful with it. Something on that Jetson is super sharp, because my finger has a deep cut. It has a deep cut over here. I don't know what that is. I'll check that out later, but be careful while touching that. It is a sharp thing that has quite a deep cut over here. It's just not bleeding, but it is deep enough to make it sting. All right, start. Okay, let's see what are the next steps over here. Switch to MAXN mode, which we have done, and congratulations, your Jetson Orin Nano developer kit is set up with JetPack 6X on your SD card, and you are ready to develop on JetPack 6X. All right, I have had enough, so I'm gonna stop now, and I'll probably make a second video for installing the SSD and using the SSD as the boot drive, because that's something that needs to be done over here. We cannot live off of SD card for sure. All right, thank you everyone for watching, and I hope you have a better time with setting up Jetson for the first time than I did. And maybe this walkthrough has helped. I know I just couldn't show you much of the screen over here, but I'll try to see if I have a couple other capture cards. I have 4K 60 capture card, the one that is a PCIe based, and I can plug it into my system over there, and then I'll try to capture with the 4K 60 card and see, maybe that helps. All right, thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next.